Another batch of emails from Hillary Clinton's campaign. RT presents the next part of an exclusive interview given by Julian Assange to renowned documentary filmmaker John Pilger at Dartmouth Films. They discuss one of the most controversial leaked letters, which allegedly shows Clinton knew that the Saudi government directly funded the self-proclaimed Islamic State.
The closer it gets to the US elections, the juicier the WikiLeaks revelations become. And the man behind all this isn't shy about meting out his own judgments too. The editor of WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, has spoken exclusively to veteran journalist and filmmaker John Pilger for company Dartmouth Films. They spoke here at London's Ecuadorian embassy, and in that interview, John Pilger asked Julian Assange the questions that a lot of his detractors probably want to see answered. Things like, why the vendetta against Hillary Clinton? And does he have a thing for Donald Trump?
What is WikiLeaks doing? Are they trying to put Trump in the White House?
Trump would not be permitted to win. Banks, intelligence, arms companies,
well, they all want him beat,
foreign money, etc.
Yeah,
is all united behind Hillary Clinton, and the media as well. So media owners and even journalists themselves.
Donald Trump's lack of support from any corner of any establishment is pretty much the opposite of the situation that Hillary Clinton is in. But can too much support be a bad thing, especially when it lumps you in a club with some pretty dubious members?
There's an early 2014 email from Hillary Clinton, so not so long after she left Secretary of State, to her campaign manager, John Podesta. That email, it states that ISIS, is funded by Saudi Arabia and Qatar, the governments of Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Now, this is I think this is the most significant email in the whole collection.
ISIL or ISIS is created largely with money from the very people who are giving money to the Clinton Foundation.
Yes.
That's extraordinary.
For anyone who dismissed these suggestions as far-fetched, there it is in startlingly simple terms. Julian Assange is saying he has proof that the world's most brutal terrorists and the Clinton Foundation have been bankrolled by the same people. You can sink your teeth into that and hear more from the man who's thrown spanner after spanner in the works of the Clinton campaign in John Pilger's full interview with Julian Assange here on RT on Saturday.
All right, joining me now to discuss all of that, former U.S. diplomat Jim Jatras. Jim, good of you to be here with us.
Thank you, Manila.
First, the issue of Hillary Clinton urging John Podesta to come down on the Saudis and come down on the Qataris. Doesn't this show that not only did Clinton know that the Saudis and Qataris were funding ISIS, but that this goes all the way to the top, to President Obama?
Oh, of course. There's simply no way that he would not have known. And of course, they would have known prior to when these emails took place. So the question is, how early did they know? How far back into 2014, 13, 12, before that, did they know that the Saudis were funding ISIS, and for that matter, other groups, Al-Qaeda, you know, what became the Al-Nusra Fund, all the other terrorists that essentially share the same Wahhabist ideology.
Now, those Wahhabists, obviously, we know that it stems from Saudi Arabia, and we know that the money is coming from there. Yet the U.S. still claims that Saudi Arabia is our ally in the Middle East, joining them in so-called coalition airstrikes in places like Yemen, many who are Shia, obviously, in Yemen. What do you make of that?
You know, it's amazing how much they get away with, the Saudis get away with. I mean, look, this goes back at least to the Afghan war against the Soviet Union, where we were in bed with the Saudis, essentially funding and arming these horrible jihadist terror groups as a geopolitical tool. You'd think we would have reconsidered that after the Cold War ended. I mean, but here we are still working with these and then pretending to be fighting a worldwide struggle against global terrorism, of which the Saudis are the #1 funder and supporter.
Now, it's funny that you bring up Cold War, because it seems, at least in terms of mainstream media portrayal, it looks like we're right back there. to another Cold War front. But now, during the Clinton tenure, though, as Secretary of State, the U.S. arms sales to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia more than doubled. Contracts have thus far amounted to over $100 billion since the start of the Obama White House. What about that?
Well, this is just one of the main ways in which the Saudis in particular, the Qataris, the other Gulf states do it too, but the Saudis in particular peddle influence in Washington. They buy friends by these arms sales. Look at all the PR and lobbying firms that they employ, for example, on this new law, JASTA, to hold them responsible for support of terrorism. And let's not forget their donations to the Clinton Foundation. They have many, many avenues for buying influence from the establishment, of which Hillary Clinton is the face.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought up the Clinton Foundation, because technically this is Bill Clinton's baby, right? The fact that the Saudis and the Qataris and the Bahrainis have given money to the foundation, do you see this as a conflict of interest? Because it is, technically, it's Bill Clinton's baby. Is there some kind of collusion, you think? Is this somewhat dirty money?
I've heard a rumor that Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton are in fact married, that there is a connection, and that, sure, we can't give money to the Secretary of State. We'll just give it to her husband instead. We'll just hire him to give a big speech for a big speaking fee. Or we'll hire her after she leaves office to give a big speech because maybe she'll be president someday. The notion that you don't give tens and ultimately hundreds of millions of dollars to people, oh, we'll just give it to their spouse instead, that doesn't. Come on, were people born yesterday?
No, to be fair, a little fair, at least to the Clinton Foundation, they do a lot of good work around the world, and some of that Saudi money has been used for some good stuff. We can follow the money trail, but the fact that the Saudis are still, in fact, the same people that have given money to her and given money to Wahhabi extremist Sunni groups. How is she going to separate herself from that?
Well, you're a lot more charitable in your assessment than I am. To start with, of course, the Clinton Foundation has a horrible record in terms of what percentage of their money actually goes to good stuff. And the idea that I can fund terrorism, I can fund mass murder, I can fund all of these horrible activities, but I actually gave some money to do some good stuff. What is that? Innocence by association? It just doesn't ring.
How does she separate herself from this?
She can't.
It's Tuesday. It's coming up. This is Friday.
Well, the way she separates itself for politically in the election is that the mainstream media will not report this with the detail that it deserves and pin the blame on her the way it needs to be pinned. This woman should be in jail. It's as simple as that. I don't think most Americans are going to hear that. And I think a lot of people who are voting for Hillary knows exactly how corrupt she is, and frankly, they don't care.
Turning a blind eye. I guess they're going to have to watch Julian Assange's interview on RT tomorrow to find out more.
That was the other thing he said, that she won't be permitted to lose, that the corrupt establishment will make sure that she wins. I hope he's wrong about that. In fact, I think he is wrong.
All right, we will see come Tuesday in just a few days. Thank you so much for that. Jim Jatras, former GOP Senate Foreign Policy Advisor and diplomat. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.